Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's DealerOn webinar, where the beard and the hair are going to let you ask them anything. My name is Eliana Raggio, and I'll be your moderator today. Today's webinar is being presented by DealerOn. For anyone who isn't familiar with DealerOn, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, best known for our amazing SEO, the best customer service, and the highest converting website designs in the industry, including the award-winning Chameleon responsive website platform. Earlier this year, we went to NADA, and when we got back, we were awarded the Driving Sales Dealer Satisfaction Award for top-rated websites for an unprecedented 6th year in a row. We also took home the AWA Award for Best Websites for a 3rd time in a row. Plus, FCA announced that we're now an approved vendor. We're still the only company in the industry that offers a money-back lead guarantee program. Do you want to know more? Yeah, you do. You can check us out at our gorgeous brand new DealerOn website at DealerOn.com. Hopefully Shaun will forward the slides for me. Now, we're going to have a great show today, and we're very pleased to have Greg Gifford and Shaun Raines as our presenters today. Greg Gifford, known as The Beard, is the VP of Search and Social at DealerOn. He's got over 15 years of online marketing and web design experience and has specialized in automotive SEO for the last 5 years, helping hundreds of auto dealers thrive while the industry has struggled during the recession. Greg speaks internationally at both automotive and SEO conferences, teaching thousands of small business owners and marketers how to get their sites to show up higher in local search rankings. He is an international SEO speaker and currently serves as a member of the board of directors for the DFW SEM, an organization dedicated to promoting search engine marketing through best practices. He graduated from Southern Methodist University with a BA in Cinema and Communications and has an obscure movie quote for just about any situation. And Greg can be reached at ggifford@dealeron.com. Joining Greg is the one and only Shaun Raines, the hair. He's the Vice President of Business Development at DealerOn. A true internet car guy, his automotive internet career began in 1998 with the Reynolds & Reynolds team that launched Microsoft's CarPoint.com, Cars Direct Connect, Yahoo Autos, Automark websites, and Reynolds Web Solutions. His unique blend of humor and automotive experience has made Raines a sought-after speaker at industry events, including NADA, NCM, Digital Dealer, and various 20 groups. Shaun is a highly respected member of the automotive community, and he can be reached at Shaun@DealerOn.com. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, we're going to try to respond by email later today. Don't forget, a link to download a copy of this webinar recording will also be emailed to you later today for your reference. Feel free to share it with your friends and colleagues. And guess what? Our good friends at AutoHook are sponsoring this week's webinar giveaway. AutoHook is a showroom traffic driver, and they've built the ultimate attribution engine, which tracks that customer through the lead, showroom visit, and purchase, and then delivers a cost per sale that's best in the industry. One of you lucky webinar attendees is going to win a $250 e-gift card from AutoHook. What a great prize for right before the holidays, right? You have to be on the live broadcast to win it, though, so stay tuned, and you could be the one walking away with this awesome prize today. And for more information about AutoHook, visit driveautohook.com. Also, at the conclusion of this webinar, you're going to get a short survey, so fill it out because we're always looking for quality feedback from our audience, and we want your opinion to be heard. And hey, do you tweet much? We hope you do. We'd love to see what you have to say about today's presentation, so please tag us in it. You can use #DealerOnWebby. I'm at Eliana Raggio. You can also hit up Greg Gifford at Greg Gifford and Shaun Raines at, you guessed it, Shaun Raines. We look forward to seeing what you're saying. All right, everyone, let's get started with The Beard and the Hair. Ask me anything. That's right, it spells Bahama. I know you guys all picked up on that. So, Greg, Shaun, let's turn on our webcams and see what we're going to be talking about today. How are you, fellas?
Well, we're doing great. Greg's going to be coming in hot. So I got a text from him. I don't know what it is, so hopefully it's not anything too serious. But he said he had some sort of emergency situation, so he's literally going to join us in just a couple of minutes. But we're doing good. It's been an interesting November. As you know, Eliana, I have actually taken most of the month off, and that has been actually to move my parents. I moved my parents from Arizona into my house in Texas.
You're a good
That
son.
includes flying there, packing up their house, loading it onto a truck, and driving the truck, towing their car all the way to my house.
You're a good son. You're a good son, and I'm very, very happy that the move went well, and we're so happy that you're back here with us at DealerOn, ready to drop the knowledge bombs all over the place. I had to put you to work, because...
Well, I'm ready. Any excuse to get out of the house now is probably a good one. So,
all right, well, I'll tell you what. If you wouldn't mind, let's start with some great questions that came into the audience, came in from the audience during registration. We have a few of those, and a few of them are directed right at you. So if you're ready, I'm going to put in the first question now. All right, you ready for this?
Let's do it.
All right, first question comes in from Bill. Bill wants to know, when choosing a vendor for digital marketing, how do you know how good they are? In other words, what differentiates one digital marketing vendor from another? And are there specific questions or information that we should be getting from them so that we can make an informed decision? This is a great question. I'm reminded of the time that I met a professional chef, Chef Irvine, and I was so enamored by him. He's my favorite chef. And I actually asked him, what's one thing you can ask a chef to cook that you will know right away if they're a really good chef? And his answer surprised me. He said, eggs. Have him fry you an egg. And I was like, an egg? That was the last thing I expected the answer to be. So I'm wondering if you have a similar surprising answer for people. How can they tell if they're with the right vendor who can help them with SEM?
So it really covers, I think the question probably covers even beyond just SEM. And the simple answer is it's always going to be found in results. So if you're coming from, most of you are going to be coming from existing providers, and you have all the time this consideration of, okay, is the new shiny widget, is the new pitch, is the new whatever somebody is telling you is the new stuff, is it really going to make a difference? And so I always tell dealers, if you're actually evaluating or if you're trying to figure out if one vendor is better than the other, you're going to have to actually do some comparison, and then that's going to also demand that you have at least a decent foundational amount of knowledge around that particular type of digital marketing. For example, if it's SEO, you want to have some benchmark of what you've been expecting from an SEO provider previously to what you're going to get in the future. And for Greg and I, we talk about this all the time, but SEO for years and years and years, people chased it as they want to be number one. It was all about rank, and rank is important, but not more important from a local SEO perspective than, say, organic traffic increase. So if you're going to move from one SEO provider to another, one of the things that we would tell you is the first thing to start to look for, really within the first few months, is are you actually seeing organic traffic lift from your new SEO provider? Because it absolutely should start to happen relatively soon. The bigger wins that you chase with SEO are a little bit different, a little more complex, and unless you're a SEO professional, you probably want to work with somebody that'll give you some more specifics. In paid search, I can give you just my personal take on evaluating a paid search vendor. Most of them will have you fixated on what I consider to be really upstream metrics, like impression share, which is important but not the be-all, end-all, or cost per click, or click-through rate. But where you really want to evaluate somebody from a paid search side is what's the conversion rate, right? So you get the clicks, you get the visits to your website, but how do those clicks on your website convert? At what percentage do they convert? Meaning they called you or they filled out one of your forms that's probably too long, so shorten those. But you want to find out if the conversion rate on that traffic is strong, and then is it driving a cost per lead that is acceptable? Is it put you in the $30 range? So are you using a paid search vendor that's actually allowing you or helping you generate your own leads for, let's just $35? Or are you actually using a vendor who doesn't ever really talk about your cost per lead, or cost per action is what it is in AdWords? Those are some of the things I would tell you on those particular two services. Everything else is similar, whether it's paid social, whether it's display advertising or the remarketing side of it, whether it's YouTube advertising. all of them have to be evaluated based on where you were and then where you're trying to go, and then what goal you are actually trying to achieve through that digital marketing channel. And one last example, because this is a long answer, but if you are an established dealership, you've been around for 10 or more years, and you're using things like general display network or YouTube advertising, those are going to be goal-oriented around brand awareness, top-level awareness. They do have an effect on the overall impression that you're making with somebody who's in the car buying process, but they won't generate a lead that is the same cost, low cost. They generate very high-cost leads and not very many of them. So if your goals are, we need more traffic, we need more leads, then those digital marketing channels are prioritized a little differently. So they have a place, they just have to be put in the right place. So hopefully some of that's helpful. That's a really big question to answer, and it's one where I will also say, listen, email me. Be more than happy to give you some more personal feedback as well, based on your own real situation, because everyone is usually pretty unique.
I absolutely agree. And Bill, I hope you're on here, and if you are, I would absolutely take Shaun up on that. Now, a couple things I, on Bill's behalf, would ask is a lot of the things that you mentioned are, well, after you already have that vendor working for you, but can you think of any questions that they might ask a vendor before they make the decision to try them out that maybe might shed some light on whether or not that's a worthwhile vendor to go with?
Yeah, it'll be a little bit different for each of these channels, but if anybody is interested, I have a deck that I've done at Digital Dealer and a couple of other places on prioritizing your digital marketing channels. And it gives a recommendation. It actually is, even before kind of the Google playbook was out, it kind of follows that. Maybe they got some ideas, just kidding. But it would be a really good place to kind of start with formulating those types of questions. And the reason why I say that would be a good idea is because if you're going to consider somebody for, let's just go back to paid search. If you're going to consider somebody as a paid search provider, I'm going to ask them, what do you believe are the most important metrics that I should be watching at my dealership regarding paid search? What do you think is the most valuable result that you're going to deliver if I give you my paid search business? And then shut up and let them talk. And if they talk about, well, we're going to get you a low cost per click, we have a great click-through rate, we're going to get you lots of visits and lots of phone calls. Okay, I want them to talk to you not just about that. I want them to tell you, we're going to actually be able to target your traffic specifically to tell you what you're doing in specific zip codes. We're going to get so deep on understanding the level of precision that we can actually chase those lower cost per leads and high conversion rates. That is really important. And if they don't also heavily talk about mobile as what they lean in probably the majority of your budget towards now, I would also think that's a red flag. So each of those would be a different question. Same thing if people are going to get into display or remarketing. Why are we going to use it? How should we use it? What should I expect? Why do you think I should be using it? And then let them tell you. And you should already know what you want. Like, what's your goal? If you're going to get into paid social and you want to start running a heavier budget through Facebook, what are you expecting from that? You as the dealership. Like, what do you think Facebook should do for you? And what do you want it to do? Ask that vendor, right? And what their answer is to that. Then match it up to what you have in your mind, and then find out what the difference is. Because maybe either they don't deliver that, or potentially you may be chasing the wrong goal in terms of your strategy. You may need to not do something and do something. You need to spend more money in a different area that's going to help you with your actual goal. So, big question, but
these are your answer is phenomenal. A lot of people are writing in that they love your answers, and there's a lot of comments in here. Only one more thing I would point out, because I know you've said it on previous shows, was about transparency. And I don't know how you would phrase that question to a potential vendor, where you ask them, okay, so how much am I going to be able to see?
Yeah, you remember, because you're the fan.
You taught me well.
I am super passionate about that, as I think any responsible digital marketer would be you know, if you don't have the type of, you can't have the transparency into AdWords, for example, just through connecting AdWords to analytics, because you're only going to see how those campaigns perform. So you're going to see the results of in analytics, but you're not going to actually see how the campaigns are set up, how the negatives are being managed, how your targeting is set up, if you're on an ad schedule, and if that ad schedule even coincides with what you would want to be doing. So there's a lot of that you need AdWords access. Even if it's read-only, that's fine. You can still see the things that you need to see to inspect. And I know that a lot of dealers, because I get this all the time, they're like, you always say that, but if I have AdWords access, I don't even know what to look at, Shaun. Like, I have no, like, I go in there and it's like I'm trying to read, like, languages written by an alien. I don't get it. And AdWords has changed a lot this year. I mean, the whole format, I mean, it looks different. They put things in different places. I get that, but you have resources people to reach out to, and we'll kind of give you some of those baby steps. Most importantly is that the vendor will give you that access. And I think a lot of people think that we're trying to be very self-serving, because we do offer that kind of transparency at DealerOn. That really isn't the sole intention. It's important that people know that DealerOn offers that, but it's even more important for you running your business, that whoever you're choosing to do some of these things that you're spending a lot of money with, that they let you see everything. They let you see everything. So yeah, the transparency piece is really important.
I agree. All right. Hey, Shaun, I'm going to read you a couple of the comments that have come in. I would love it if you could go to the next slide for me, if you wouldn't mind, sir. Okay. Tyler wrote in, Shaun, you need to step up your beard game, man. Okay. First of all, Tyler, slow your roll. He is the hair. The beard is just added awesomeness. All right. Gary wants to know if there's any way that you can up your audio. So I don't know if that's something that you can do for us.
I don't know. We can just get closer to the somebody's joined us. Greg is back. Sorry,
oh, Double G, birthday boy. How are you, sir?
I am good. Sorry, I got stuck doing something I couldn't get out of. But I'm here now, and we will turn on the other camera, and that might work better.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah,
You guys work on that.
So,
let me tell you a couple other things that happen. Shaun, you need a big beanbag chair to relax in. That one comes in from Tyler.
Actually, have a giant chair here in the office.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, let's see.
The beard, I just do a little bit more of a trimmed beard. Greg is the real beard. I'm not the real beard. I just don't like to shave. So
hopefully this does it. Okay, there we go. Look at that. Like Inception right now. Wait, let me get back.
Look at that.
I love you guys. You're two of my favorite people to work with. You know that?
Oh, I love it.
Double trouble. That's right, Kayla. Tony says double G or GG? No, double G. Greg Gifford. Okay. Oh God. I was just telling Shaun, do not put the pony mask on. It really freaks me out. Okay, we got to get to some more education, Greg. Okay, just take that thing off. Okay, lots of questions.
So it's a weird thing.
Happy birthday, by the way, Greg. I know it was your birthday, what, 2 days ago?
Yeah, it's been a long week.
Yeah, congratulations.
Okay, so we need better audio, so I'm going to mute him temporarily really quick as I dial in on the phone call. So that
I got to have somebody answering my next question. I can't just keep these people on hold.
No, should I ask the question? I'm just letting you know I'm doing that while I'm multitasking.
Okay, all right, let's see. I'm going to throw you an SEO question. Actually, this one comes in from Holly. Holly says, I would like to hear SEO and SEM tips for service departments. It's hard to compete with independent repair shops for basic repairs. Please give me advice. This one comes in from Holly.
All over this one. Hang on one second.
Okay. It's so weird seeing you guys from two different angles.
Followed by the pound or hash.
All right, we'll probably need to mute that.
Whoa. Yeah, you got it down.
Okay, better?
Sure.
It's not? It should be.
Sounds the same.
Okay, well then, glad I did that. So as far as SEO and SEM tips for service, the main reason that you're getting beat is because when you're comparing your dealership to those independent service centers, boil down the relevancy of the website. Now, yeah, you know that you're a car dealership and you've got a service department, but when Google's when Google spiders are indexing your site, you've got this site with all this inventory on it. Let's take that out. That's not related to service. Outside of the inventory pages, you have maybe 15 to 20 pages on your site at most, and probably 1 or 2 of those are dedicated to service, and most likely one of them is just an iframed in service form with no content on the page. So you don't even really actually have content on your site about service or repair or oil changes or tire rotations. And even if you do have a few of those pages, if they're not optimized well and you're not building links and doing all the other things you should be doing for that service content, you have this kind of stagnant content that sits there that you're expecting that less than 5% of the overall value of your website that's dedicated towards service to beat a website that is 100% dedicated and optimized towards service. So that's why you're getting whooped. It's really freaking me out with the double angle thing here. That's why you're getting whooped in searches, because Google's looking at this independent service site that is 100% keyword relevant for service, repair, lube, oil change, tire rotation, blah, blah, blah. Then it's looking at your site here where you've got this site that even has more pages and is bigger, but this is the little section right here that's got maybe 1.5 pages about service. They're going to show this one over this all day long because there's just more to it. So if you want to show up and beat those guys, you've got to really blow out the service content. You have to have lots of useful info there. Put a lot of blog posts out. Do the DIY service tips, how to change your own oil, how to hook up jumper cables, how to change a tire, all that sort of stuff that most people take for granted. But if you really think about it, the vast majority of people out there have never changed their own oil. Most people haven't ever changed a tire or hooked up jumper cables. So you start sharing lots of information like that and useful information and build links and do all of the other SEO things you should be doing to the rest of your site, and that will help your service stuff compete. In certain situations, like DealerOn does sell independent service sites. In certain situations, that can help a lot too. If you're going to go set up a dedicated service site that's only about service, then now you have a separate site that's 100% dedicated to service, and as long as you're also going to do SEO on that, it's going to do well. If you're just going to go get the service sites, again, leave it stagnant, not going to work. But if you're getting links and you have the social and you have all the other reviews and everything else that matters, then that's going to help you.
And from a page search perspective, I just did this search. You won't be able to probably see it. I just did a search for a Toyota Tundra oil change, right? And I get Jiffy Lube #1 and then Toyota manufacturer #2. So if you want to actually, and the question is probably for somebody who's doing that but wants even more deep detail, but for most dealers, and I'm talking like almost into the 90th percentile, you just actually need to run some paid search service campaigns. Most dealers are still just not doing it. A lot of manufacturers put energy behind getting their dealers incentivized to do it, but most, you just need to do it. Once you are doing it, you'll find out really quickly who your paid search vendor is in terms of whether they're good or not, if they can actually segment service so that it performs well for your service department versus just generating stuff that you don't want. And use some call-only campaigns because most of that stuff's going to come off of mobile phones, and you want to make it really easy for somebody interested in service to just hit one button with their thumb and they're calling your service department. And by the way, make sure that that phone number is routed to your service department. Anyway, there you go.
Not through the receptionist is what you're saying. Okay.
No, because most of the receptionists in our industry probably need to be fired and replaced with people that are good. Most of that's just a side topic, but that's, if your receptionist isn't good, then get a good one, especially if you're going to route calls through there. So,
gotcha. Holly, thank you so much for the great question, Holly. If you have a follow-up, we'd love to hear back from you. Shaun, I have a number of people who, all right, here we go. Jason wrote in, I'd love the prioritizing your channels deck. Mark wrote in, how do we get a copy of Shaun's digital marketing prioritization deck? Download the link in the chat box. And then Matt wrote in, where's the deck he created on the most valuable advertising channels for dealerships? Holy moly, Shaun, where is this deck and why aren't we doing a webinar on that?
So, hey, make sure everybody, you send me an email. It's the best. I mean, you can tweet me, but Shaun, and make sure you spell it right, S-H-A-U-N.
It's on the screen now.
It's right here on the screen. Send me an email if you want a copy of that deck, because I'll need to throw it up into a Dropbox link, and you can pull it down from there. It's too big to send through our email servers or probably to receive on yours. So send me an email if you want a copy of that deck, and I'll send you a Dropbox link.
Awesome. Okay, Shaun, next question is for you. It's from Tony. He wants to know, do you have a list of KPIs that you prefer?
A list of KPIs that I prefer. Well, I kind of talked about them a little bit. On paid search, my favorites are conversion rate. So once the traffic is on the website, I want to know how well that traffic converts. And the second one is I like cost per lead. Those are my favorites. That's when we know what's really happening with the traffic. So how you set up your ads, what your ads say, how you actually got them to click, and then they land on your site. Where did they land on your site? And then did your site actually land them in the place where they convert high? I want to know what happens after that. So those are my favorites, conversion rate and cost per lead.
Thank you very much. All right, if you have a follow-up question, send it in. All right, next question is from Liliana, so close to Eliana. So Liliana, we're going to take care of your question now. Greg.
No,
Thanks for your support, Greg. All right, Greg, what is your preferred campaign goal for automotive clients on Facebook?
Campaign goal? That sounds like an advertising question. Can we get clarification?
It's a social media question, so I think that's
organic. Like when it comes to organic, the important thing is engagement. So when you're doing social, it's all about engagement. The thing that dealers really get wrong with social, and this is every dealership, they use it as a broadcast platform. And something I tell dealers all the time when I'm auditing their social media, you always see dealers sharing links to inventory. The thing is, the people that follow you on social are probably people that just bought from you. So if I just bought an F-150 and the next day you're showing links to all the F-150s you have, that's not relevant to me, and I'm going to scroll right past that in Facebook's algorithm. Facebook's algorithm is going to notice that that I'm a new follower and I didn't engage with the post that it shows me, and it will be less likely to show me a post in the future. When it decides to show me another post, if it's again, hey, come buy this car, this truck, and I don't need to buy a car right then, I'm scrolling right past again. And after some number of times, which nobody knows exactly, Facebook's algorithm is going to be completely unlikely. In fact, it's going to be very likely it will never show me anything that you post ever again. So just to make sure that you're gaming the algorithm, you've got to have things that people will interact with. And if you're just broadcasting sales information or promotional stuff, nobody's going to click like that you're sharing an F-150 or a Jeep, or that you're like, hey, we're the best dealership in town, come get our service special. Like, people don't care about that. You've got to show what's going on at the dealership. Show your personality. Show fun stuff. Show why you're cool and your competitors aren't. Show how funny things are if you've got a goofball that's down on the sales floor. Show delivery photos. Share stuff that's fun and interesting that has jack squat to do with your dealership. You don't have to be all on the crap all the time. So be fun and interesting so that people will engage, and the more engagement you get, the more reach you're going to get. Because the flip side of that algorithm on Facebook is it shows a post to a follower and they do engage with it, it will be more likely to show them something in the future. So if they've engaged several times, they're going to see a lot more of your posts than other people will. So you want that engagement factor because of the algorithm, and that's also the important signal to search engines. So that's kind of the way you want to go, unless she's asking about advertising, and then that would be a question for this.
Okay, thank you so much. Nice question, Liliana. We love it. If you have a follow-up, we'd love to hear it. All right, we have a ton of great questions that came in from the audience. We're going to have to pick up the pace a bit. Christopher says he's got to get this question in early. What is the best way to handle fake reviews that we can't remove on Facebook or Google? 1 stars with no comments, etc. Thoughts on removing reviews tab from Facebook entirely?
Never, ever, ever remove Facebook reviews. Ever. It's hugely important as a signal to the search engines that you've got reviews on Facebook. It's the second most popular review platform out there. You don't want to turn it off because you're getting bad reviews. The vast majority of the time, like 99.99% of the time, when I talk to dealers and they're like, we're getting all these fake reviews, it's our competitors trying to screw us over or whatever, turns out it's actually that dealership has a problem with customer service that they need to get fixed. So dealers love to point the blame and say that it's a competitor or a pissed off ex-employee, but the vast majority of the time it's actually that they're dropping the ball and giving bad service. So that's the way to fix the bad reviews, if you do get bad reviews, if it's a 1-star review with no comment, nobody cares. It's not like if I'm looking and I'm trying to find a place to come get my oil change or come find a place to buy a car, and I look on Facebook and you've got a 4.3 rating and your most recent review is a 1-star review with no comment, I'm not going to care, because unless there's a story there about why that 1-star review happened, it doesn't mean anything. And as a dealership, you just respond to that and say, hey, we're sorry you had a bad experience. You know, you can look up that person in your CRM and see what happened with that person. So if it's a legit Facebook profile, it's going to have a name. It can't be anonymous. So it's going to have that person's name. You can look it up in the system and see what happened. If it's somebody that's not in the system, then you leave a comment and say, hey, we're sorry you felt like you needed to give us a bad review. We looked you up in the system and we don't see you, but we want to make sure that we take care of you if something wrong happened. Can you call us at this number? Boom, done. If you look it up in the system and it is somebody that went in, there should be some sort of a note, or you could talk to somebody that was involved and see what happened with that person and find out. And then you can come back and be like, hey, we're sorry you left us a 1-star review because you had to wait too long to get your car back from service. We really apologize. And you bring up what happened. Or you're like, hey, look, we looked you up in the system. You're not in there. Like, whatever. You know, it's really easy to respond to those if they don't have anything written with them. If they do have something written with them, again, super easy to respond because you just address the situation and get it fixed. But it's very, very rare that you're going to get just a boatload of fake reviews.
Okay, fair enough. Tyler wrote in, good points, Greg. I need my online manager to hear all of that. Tyler also wrote in, Shaun has his email set up to auto-reply that he is still on vacation. Tell him to fix it.
Well, I am still on vacation. I just love you all so much that I came in to do this. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Yeah. Don't worry. I will respond. I promise. And I am still on vacation, but it doesn't really feel like it.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming in on your vacation. All right, Christopher, thank you so much for the great question. All right, let's see. Tony wants to know which one is faster, the beard or the hair? I don't know.
Dude, that could be a totally badass Wednesday workshop that we go out to some track and actually do a foot race. And we're doing it. Whose idea was that?
Tony Thorstad.
Tony, I talked to you yesterday and I told you to behave on this call, and now you got it set up. We're going to have to go find a track
and run.
And we'll do this just for you, Tony. We're going to go find a track and run a race, and we'll settle it once and for all.
Can I train at least?
No training.
What?
You gotta do it like cold.
Oh, by the way, Tony Thorstad said vacation is overrated and do it.
That's what we should do. We should have to eat a Big Mac and then do it. Like, how fast can you eat the Big Mac and then get to the finish line?
I'm on it. Let's do it.
And then who's going to throw up first? Okay. Gary says, Tony's making a joke, the tortoise and the hare parable, FYI. Funny, Tony. Tony says, while doing it. Okay. Tyler wrote in, who put the glasses on Shaun in the slide? I did, and the hat on Greg. I take it. Oh, Adam says you should do a Big Mac and a pint of milk. Just so you know. Okay. Okay, we got to get back to these great questions from the audience. Let's see. Oh my goodness, there's so many good questions. Okay, Thomas, let's get to your question. Isn't it pretty easy for an SEM vendor to spend more on an SEM branding campaign to get cheap clicks and conversions? And if so, what percentage of your budget should be spent on a branding campaign? Your budget should be spent on a branding campaign. So we have a couple of questions there. These are both from Thomas.
Yeah. The first part is, it's really easy to do that. Most of your clicks, in fact, most of your important clicks are actually coming from brand terms. And you should probably be spending, and be perfectly fine with it, 15 to maybe even 20% of your budget. That can change a little bit depending on your market and who else might be also wanting to show up for your brand terms. So there are a couple of variables, but super easy for an SEM vendor, even including DealerOn, to go out and get a ton of, relatively cheap, because those clicks are definitely going to be cheap for you if you're the brand, with good conversion rate. Super, super easy. But then also, yes, you should have a segment, 15, maybe 20% of your budget. And again, it just depends on what your brand is and what market you're in. But I don't know if those are pretty quick answers, but
he already wrote in thanks. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. Great question, Thomas. All right, next question, SEO question from Jeff. Jeff wants to know, does deep linking ads directly to vehicle display pages hurt SEO ranking since it greatly increases bounce rate and lowers time on site. For example, 10,000 unique visitor sites with 30% bounce rate suddenly shoots to 20,000 unique visitors, and the bounce rate goes to 50% or more.
Let's settle this once and for all. Stop worrying about bounce rate, people. It doesn't matter. People have been brainwashed into thinking this is the biggest KPI in the history of the world. And here's the thing. What is your website designed to do? Your website is designed to have people call you. When you run AdWords ads and have them land on the BDP, what do you want them to do? I'm looking for an F-150. I click on an ad, land on that F-150. What do you want me to do? Look around for other cars? No, you want me to land on that page and be impressed and call you. Guess what? That means that's going to be a bounce and 0 time on site, even though I just converted. So sometimes you actually want a high bounce rate because that means people are landing on your site and finding what they need on the page that they land on and calling you and converting. Now, clearly, if you have a really high bounce rate and you're not getting phone calls, that means there's a problem. But as long as you're getting calls, stop worrying about bounce rate. Like, who cares? People are going to bounce. We know that when people go to buy a car, they're buying a car every 6 or 7 years now, and when they're coming in to buy a car, they're spending 5 to 6 months doing research beforehand. That means they're going to do a lot of bouncing. Who cares? You're getting eyeballs on your site. That's what matters, and it's not going to affect your SEO.
The Greg has
step off my
spoken.
soapbox now.
And depending on where you're deep linking paid search campaigns, that might be actually a really good indicator of some place to go back and look at what your ad copy is saying and what do your landing environments look like. Because if you got a high bounce rate there, it could be a lot of different factors, but it could be that you're deep linking them too deep. Like you've taken them too far past where maybe they should have gone to. So let's just say they are looking at Toyota Tundras and we want to show them Toyota Tundraland, maybe a model research page that links to all your inventory. But if that's not built the right way, you want to continue to test that. How many people have heard me say that? So you can find out if it actually has an improvement over bounce rate, not super, super important, but more importantly, does it get you more opportunities to sell Tundras in the bucket? So that might be a great way to find out where you have a deficiency.
Now, Jeff followed up with a nice comment. He says, great answer, guys. Let the floodgates open. Agreed. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that question, Jeff. Okay, let's see. Chris has the next question. He says, what type of SEO can be done on a site that is not run by DealerOn? For instance, a dealer.com site. First of all, I want to give you my, sympathy that you need extra SEO for your dealer.com site. So sorry. Is there anything we can do to help those poor people that are stuck with a dealer.com site?
At least you're not on the other platform, which will remain nameless but rhymes with APJ. Because that would be really bad for you. But no, yeah, I mean, we can still do all the stuff we need to do. In fact, of all of our SEO clients, 45% of them are not on our website platform because there are manufacturers that are locked into other website providers' platforms. Doesn't mean we can't do SEO. It just means our job is a little bit harder because on a lot of those platforms, there's still some pretty antiquated things in the back end that don't let us do all the things we would really need to do and all the things that are super easy for us to do on our own platform, because I've worked with our developers to build in a lot of stuff in the back end, especially on the super user backend that we've got that dealers don't have, that let us do things really quickly and efficiently. Sometimes on other platforms, I can't change certain elements, or it takes me a lot longer to get something done, so I have to go through a very obtuse support process, but I can still be very effective, and we still are very effective on a lot of other platforms besides our own.
Thank you very much. Great answer. Chris, thank you so much. Great question. Okay, Tyler has an interesting question, and I don't know which one of you guys is going to answer this, so we'll just throw it out there and see what happens. He says, what are, or do you have any favorite products regarding video recording, such as video stabilizers or editing software? Again, this comes from Tyler.
I'm a big fan of the DJI Osmo. We bought one of those, a year ago probably.
What's it
because
called?
when we were going out to conferences and recording, we do little man on the street things and Wednesday workshops, I'm sure you guys have seen them. It was just a pain in the butt to bring along a tripod and lights and microphones and a camera and the camera bag and all that. So we switched to the Osmo just because it's like a little ukulele looking case that's maybe this big. And we bring that and one wireless microphone, and we're good to go.
Would be great for on-location stuff. That's what we use it for.
Yep.
For you guys, it would be great for actually if you're going to shoot video of your own car inside and out, if you're going to do your own inventory stuff. And if you're asking about that from more of an interior perspective, here in the Dallas office, we have a full, complete video production room for green screens, all the Wednesday workshop stuff. And that's probably a more detailed question. If you want to know what kind of gear we use here to do our Wednesday workshops, we could send you a list of that too. So I guess it depends on what type of video stuff.
Yeah, so if you're wanting to do more like studio type stuff like we do with the Wednesday workshops, you'd probably want to get a nice tripod and a pretty decent HD camera and some lights. And if you want to do the green screen, best thing to do is to paint a wall with green screen paint.
Yep.
Definitely want to get wireless lav mics because nothing looks worse than having
this microphone in front of you?
You're talking on a microphone and you can see the cable coming out from the camera like that. It just looks bad. So, you want to do that. But, for stabilization, the Osmo is awesome. It's like $400. It's great for walk around. You can click the trigger on it 3 times and it rotates the camera around and looks at you in selfie mode. So you could actually, if Shaun was the car, I could be holding the camera out and it's like this. And it's talking to me, and I'm walking around the car, and it's stabilizing behind me. There's a lot of really neat things you can do with that.
Yeah.
Now, Daniel pointed out the DJI Osmo doesn't work with the iPhone 7 Plus, sad face. And Tony says...
yeah, it does, because I've got a 7 Plus, and it works with it just fine.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Daniel, what are you doing?
It's just an app. It doesn't actually... With the Osmo, you have the phone set off to the side, and it doesn't actually do anything on the phone other than it creates its own little Wi-Fi signal, and you pull up the Osmo app on the phone, and you are basically using it as a viewfinder. But you don't even have to use the phone. You can just walk around with the camera and just not have a viewfinder. But it definitely works with actually it works with, I've had the 7 and an 8, and it worked with both.
Okay. Chad says,
yeah,
you don't...
If you're trying it and it's not working, try reinstalling your app.
Okay. Yeah, and Chad says you don't need the app to use the Osmo. Yep. Tony says a Fayou Summon Plus 3-axis handheld gimbal with a 4K camera is a great value at just $99. Wow, that is Greek to me.
Get on that affiliate program right now.
Okay, great question. Thank you so much for that, Tyler. If you have follow-up questions, hey, guess what? There's email addresses right there. Go email them directly because I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Okay, let's see. Next question comes in from Justin. Justin says, which is more important, responsive, mobile, coding, and design, or site customization and content creation, ability to add pages and unique content on a templated site? Goodness, this is from Justin.
Why are those mutually exclusive?
Justin.
Pretty
So
much
they're both
everybody
equally
out
important.
there other than one provider has responsive sites that allow you to add your own pages and your own content. So if you're asking about, I'm trying to make a choice between these two to figure out which website vendor I want to go to, pretty much all of them but one are going to be responsive, so tick that off. As far as adding your own content and customizing your own content, that's where you get into the nitty-gritty of sites like us. You have 100% control and do whatever you want to do. Other sites, not so much. But everybody in one way or another at least lets you create a page or two and add them into the site somewhere. So it shouldn't be a mutually exclusive thing of well, if I go responsive, I'm not going to be able to add pages to my site. Or if I go somewhere where I can add pages to my site, I'm not going to be able to be responsive.
Okay. All right. Justin, thank you so much for that question. If you have a follow-up, we'd love to get to it. All right, Shaun, next question is for you. Where'd he go? Jacob wants to know, what is your recommendations for a mobile SEM strategy?
That's a great question. Let me start with, I think, what would be most basic for me is make sure that, number one, that you have an idea of what percentage of your traffic right now is mobile. It's probably a very high percentage, 60, 70. I've seen dealers in the 80 percentile now. Once you know that, you can actually, the first thing in your strategy is actually shift your digital budget to be appropriate for how heavy mobile is in terms of traffic. So that's number one, because most dealers are still very, very, very off mark on how much money they're spending specifically on mobile. So then mobile paid search, really the basics, although most dealers are not doing it, is making sure that you have enough mobile preferred ads even written and running And then number two is that those ads actually are taking advantage of all of the feature-rich options within AdWords. For example, extensions, right? Are you using call extensions, location extensions? New one that people are talking about is promotion extensions. Google's been testing that for probably a year now. I've seen it out there a couple times. I actually saw it when I was in Arizona on a Toyota dealer site. So promotion extensions, you've got message extensions. The reason for that, in part, needs to be part of your strategy, is because your mobile paid ads have the opportunity to take up a lot of real estate in the mobile search results. Google gives preference to those mobile search results. And if you're just using basically a standard mobile ad that'll show up that doesn't have any type of call extension, location extension, site links, all of these things that are going to help your ad, perhaps make somebody bypass even going to your website, then you're probably missing out on a lot of opportunity. Because if your ads are actually mobile, strategically set up the way that they should, you should be trying to get that person to actually call you directly from the mobile search results in Google, more so than even going to your website. Why not have a one-to-one conversation with them on the phone or through a text message, through a message extension, versus even having to go through the lobby back and forth of them perhaps going in and filling out a form on your site, and then they go into a process that you only control one side of. So anyway, mobile is make sure that you are spending appropriately for mobile, which most of you are not. And then once you do that, make sure that you're using all of the robust features within AdWords for mobile ads. So you take up lots of real estate, and it's intelligently designed to get people to convert on what you're actually setting up with your ads. Hopefully that makes sense.
Thank you so much. Great answer, Shaun. Thank you, Jacob. Great question. All right. Lisa has a very interesting question, and quite frankly, this could probably be an entire webinar all unto itself. So, Greg, I'm going to ask you to just bullet point it, even though it kills kittens. All right. Lisa wants to know, for SEO, what should be my daily to-do list?
Well, your daily to-do list is going to look different on every day because you will have different tasks to do every day. Basically, you want to go get on our blog and look back through the past Wednesday workshops and look for one of the recordings of one of my SEO presentations, and it'll just outline everything you need to do. So basically, you're worried about spending a pretty significant amount of time getting links, worrying a lot about your content and how good your content is and how well optimized it is. Mm-hmm. Then also looking at your citations and looking at reputation and looking at social. But as far as like a daily task list, it's like, hey, today I'm doing this task, tomorrow I'm doing a different task, tomorrow I'm doing another task. And you just got to make sure that you
just kind of layer it, and like certain things you check every week and certain things you check every month. And is there anything you have to check every day?
Reviews are really the only thing you have to check every day.
Okay, good enough. Lisa, if you have a follow-up question, we'd love to hear back from you. Okay, next question, let's see, comes from Tyler. He says, our BDC does a pretty great job, but overall lead tracking and generating could use some improvements. What is a good way to bring up changing website management companies and such to the owners of the dealership? Oh, okay, Tyler. So he's not happy with his website company. How would you suggest he brings it up to management?
I would start with saying, what the hell's going on with your decision making around this place? No, just kidding.
Is that how you start the conversation?
What's wrong with you guys? So this is a great question, but it kind of dips into stuff that Greg and I talk about, but we don't really talk about on the webinar. This is going to have a lot to do with the communication profile of the people that you work with. And what I mean by that is, are you communicating, are you trying to get a message through to somebody that would be what I would call a lion, and maybe you're a golden retriever, and how do you actually get the message to the lion? There are a lot of little psychological things around how to communicate with people when you want to get them that message. The best way usually is business results, right? Performance improvement. So if I were in your shoes, and I'm just going to assume that I have a decent relationship with the people that might make this decision, probably one of the things that I would say would be, if we could improve our performance, conversion rate from our website by 2%, do you know what that means to our opportunities that would be created? And if
put it
they
in a
don't,
dollar
we have
value,
to have
right?
that answer for them. 2% conversion lift from our website would mean this much more traffic. When we have this many visitors on average translates to this many opportunities, conversions from our site. And when we have that many conversions, that turns into this many opportunities in terms of appointments set. And from that, this percentage of those people actually come to the dealership, of which we close 20 or whatever percent of. Would you be interested if I did some research and telling you some of the providers that could help us with that first metric, conversion performance improvement? I don't know a dealer that right now or any time in my life that wouldn't want a higher conversion rate from their most lucrative lead generation tool, which is their website. And that's probably how I would lay it out. I mean,
well, yeah, and even if you know, if you have friends at other dealerships or connections at other dealerships, and you can talk to them, especially if they're selling the same brand, and you can find out their conversion percentage off of their traffic. So regardless of if your traffic and their traffic are apples to apples, maybe they get a third the traffic that you get, maybe they get 5 times as much traffic as you get. But if they know their conversion percentage and close rate is a certain amount and yours is way off from that, a lot of times that can help you fight that battle too and say, hey, look, this other guy over here, here's what's kind of standard for everybody. We're way down here. Let's do something about it. Let's fix it. And like he said, tie it into the bottom line. If we get more leads, that means more appointments. More appointments means more sales. More sales is what we all want. So if we know we can change and even get a 5% lift in website traffic and conversions, that's a massive change to the bottom line.
Yeah, put it in dollars. It's one thing if you talk, unique visitors, but when you put it in dollars and say this means our dealership could make, 100,000 extra dollars a year, oh, they'll pay attention. Trust me. All right, Tyler.
So I write a monthly column for Search Engine Land, and I just turned in my column this week that will come out next Monday. And the entire thing is about SEO reporting and how the industry needs to kind of catch up with the times, because everybody's still providing these SEO reports with all this crazy amount of data in it that the general public doesn't understand. And as SEOs and marketers and vendors, we're all in the weeds with data all the time, so we understand that language. But when you're working with someone at a dealership that doesn't really understand or even doesn't care about that data, what does it matter? You need to make a report that ties into the bottom line and shows why it's valuable to the bottom line of the dealership. So it's the same kind of concept. You've got to tie everything into dollars and show ROI based on what's going to end up changing the bottom line. So same thing with this website question. Is it worth exploring the change or even maybe spending more money on a website? Well, if it's going to bring you more sales, that's total proof of ROI.
Make your approach less about all the marketing coolness and marketing tools and marketing companies and marketing vendors that you're going to use or that you want to use, and make it more about bottom line stuff, right? Higher conversion rate equals more opportunities, equals more appointments set, equals more appointments we keep, equals more showroom traffic, because that's what they know. They know, where's the showroom traffic, right? Well, it's been gone for about 15 years because of the internet, but here's some things that we could do to actually improve. Keep it in the language that they understand, less on all the marketing coolness, because most of the guys that are making that decision, they don't understand that. That is a longer conversation, and you probably won't get the result you're looking for.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's great. Okay, lots of people are commenting. They love your answers, both of you. Thank you so much. Mark also commented, okay, that's at least the 3rd shirt that Shaun has been wearing today. So he's paying attention. All right, thank you, Mark.
I wore layers because Eliana tweeted me last night at like 4 in the morning or whatever it was. She said, you better come ready. I'm wearing my Eagles stuff. So I wore like a Seahawks jersey to start, then a Seahawks sweatshirt, and now it's hot as balls in the office, so I'm like wearing a t-shirt now.
I can't help it if I have to push you to show your... All right, you know what, whatever. All right, yeah, blame it on me.
They do.
All right, next. Okay, couple of quick ones for you, okay? Jonathan wrote in, should you have a separate Google My Business page for your service center?
Only if your service center is not at your location.
Yep.
Okay,
there
Jonathan.
There are dealerships that have a service center that is blocks away from their dealership. In that case, 100%. If it's at the same address, I would not suggest doing it separately. It's going to be very problematic for you, and there's no reason to separate all of that stuff out.
I bet you this comes from Jonathan at Holler. And if so, hey, Jonathan, what's up? Hope you're doing well.
I don't know what dealership he's from, but I'm going to say thank you from Jonathan for him, okay? Okay, Jonathan, great question. Follow-up question comes in from Chad. Chad wants to know, should we have a separate website and domain for service?
It's up to you and your marketing strategy. Like I said earlier, if you want to have a separate domain and a separate site dedicated to service, you're going to need to do digital marketing on that site for it to be worth the expenditure. If you just put it up and expect it to, it's not like a field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. You've got to put that site up. You're going to have to invest in SEO. You're going to have to invest in PPC, which means now here's your SEO and PPC budget. You can't just cut that in half and split it. That means now you're adding more on, and you're doing more SEO and more PPC. If you got the budget to do so, heck yeah, it's awesome. If you don't have the budget to do that, you can still be incredibly successful having all that service content on your own site and keeping everything under one website roof.
Think of it as all the people that you're competing against, like Jiffy Lubes or Pep Boys or, all those kind of big box. Each of those businesses, they all have a budget that's assigned to that store as a separate business unit. So if you have the budget for it and you actually, can take on that endeavor, then absolutely go for it. Treat it like its own separate business from the dealership, but you'll have to be committed. It's not cheap.
Got it. Okay, follow-ups. Jonathan said, yes, Shaun, holler, doing good. Thanks for asking. And then we do have some other follow-ups on here. For instance, Chad wrote in, well, what if the service department has a separate website, which we just asked about, and then do you need a separate business listing on Google if you have a separate website for service, and what about if it has different hours?
Different hours is fine. You can handle that all on one single website. If you already have a separate service site and it's at the same address that your current dealership is at, I still wouldn't recommend setting up a Google My Business listing for it. If it's a separate address, then definitely do go in and set all of that stuff up. Like I said, when I said you've still got to do the SEO on that, that means all your directory listings, all your social, all your reviews, everything now has to double up because you're doing it for 2 different websites and 2 different locations.
Okay, Chad says thank you. All right, great questions, Chad. Thank you so much for those. Okay, wait. Okay, Kayla says, for instance, our service department is moving into a wholesale endeavor. So should they have a separate website, and if so, a separate GMB?
Or what she means by that question.
Wholesale,
like you're
service
moving,
or parts wholesale? I need a little more info.
Yeah,
I think if it's service wholesale, maybe you might have found an area that.
I apologize. She's actually asking about social media accounts for service. I didn't see it. It's on like 5 different levels. She keeps writing to me. So should she have separate social media accounts for a wholesale endeavor, for service? They also have parts. They're thinking of starting their own social media accounts.
Why would anyone follow you for a social media account for parts? Nobody's going to care. Why is anybody going to follow you for service? If you're providing useful service discounts specifically to that online group, maybe they'll follow you. But I typically don't recommend splitting out everything like that. Same reason you don't need to split out the reviews. Like, if you're providing valuable content, okay, great. But if you're going to say, we've got the dealership, we've got our wholesale side, we've got a parts thing, we've got a service thing, and we've got this other group account. Now you've got 5 social accounts that you have to share useful and engaging information on instead of 1. You're just giving yourself more work for something that's not really going to give you much of a benefit.
Okay, Kayla, we hope that information helped you out, and we wish you the best. Oh, she says thank you. Okay, keeping on this track, because we still have a lot of people writing in specifically about the subject, Roy wrote in, our remote service center has a separate Facebook page and a separate Google My Business page and a separate Yext and Yelp accounts. Good?
Well, if it's a separate address, everything should be separate. So he says remote service. I'm assuming that means it's a service center that's not located at the dealership. And in that case, 100%, you should have everything separated.
Okay. And Roy also wanted to know, do you like Yext? Do you recommend them?
We are a Yext partner, so of course we like Yext. Here's the thing with Yext, though. If you're just a single point dealership, you don't really need to do Yext. Yext, the big benefit to Yext is managing multiple locations from a single interface. Now, there's some really cool stuff with some of the enhanced listings that you can do that you can only do through Yext, which can be pretty cool. But for a lot of what you need to do on the citation side of things, those citation signals are not anywhere near as powerful as they used to be. I would say if you've got some citation issues, you could probably handle them manually or go to a service. But where Yext is important and why we're a Yext partner is when you move into a group situation and you've got 5 stores, 10 stores, 50 stores, 100 stores. If I need to go manage something on 100 stores, that's a heck of an undertaking and a lot of man hours. But if I've got Yext, I got one interface I can go on and be like, boom, 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 and do stuff very quickly and easily. And Yext has rolled out a lot of neat stuff. So is it necessary? Not really. If you've got the budget for it, I would continue to use it. It's just, it's really up to you and how messed up your citations are. The duplicate suppression stuff's amazing. But again, you've got to have the budget to continue to do that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just, it's kind of expensive for what it is. But if you've got issues, well worth the money.
Yeah? Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Roy says, thanks. My time is valuable, so I like Yext as a single point store. All right. Good luck with that. All right. Next question comes in. I would like to get this one from David. He says, should mobile SEM spending be the same percentage as the mobile traffic to your site?
Not necessarily. I mean, that's a good place to start, but I don't know that I would take it all there immediately. I'm a really big fan of, taking, a percentage of as you move over, 25% for 30 days, see what happens at the end of that 30 days. Then if it's another 25% to move over, then move that over, in another 30-day increment. You start to see trends with paid search really, really fast. So you may not even have to wait the 30 days. But doing it, mirroring that, I probably wouldn't make that as a wholesale recommendation. I would say take a chunk at a time and move it over and then see what the results are. Because listen, I mean, we're all like, yeah, mobile first, tons of mobile traffic, which is all true, but people are still doing desktop searches, and desktop search still continues to rise even as mobile rises. Even as voice search comes on, desktop search is still growing. So you can't completely just do it that way, but that's probably the best answer.
Okay,
big chunks
thank you,
of time, but not all at once.
Okay, thanks, Sharpie. Great question. All right, next question comes in from Daniel. Daniel wants to know, when it comes to Facebook's new marketplace for dealerships focus, is that something agency partners like DealerOn can help us with? And how should we think about that going into 2018 budgeting?
I think it's so new, nobody really has an answer for that. I personally, and this is not DealerOn's opinion, this is mine, I don't think anybody's going to go to Facebook Marketplace to buy a car. I just don't think, it's just not what that's meant for. Just because they've got, it's the same thing of
yes, maybe.
Yeah, but 8 months ago they came out with the whole Amazon can do car sales now, and they're testing it in Europe, and everybody lost their crap and wrote all these blog posts of, what does this mean for automotive, and I think this, or I think this, or this is going to happen, and it's 8 months later, and jack squat has happened. I think that's how Facebook Marketplace is going to be. Who cares? If you want to sell a car on Facebook, do it with Facebook ads. That's what's going to work for you right now. We'll have to just kind of monitor and see. I don't think anybody really has a solution for Marketplace yet because it's so brand new and it's not a proven platform that's going to do anything for you.
And we'll do lots of testing with it because we love to test everything. You guys know that. But we would just be completely BSing you if we told you we already have the strategy or we kind of know exactly what we're going to recommend for dealers in 2018. We have an awesome team. Orco and the whole digital ad team, they're awesome. I mean, really, really great. But what we do with stuff like this is we typically will test it. We did that. We still do this with our dealers that come onto our platform and want to start doing some paid social. We start to actually kind of put them in the beginning in the elementary and graduate them to where we can find results for them and what works with what goals they have. We'll do the same thing with Marketplace. And maybe it'll be something that we talk about early first quarter of 2018 once we find what we would recommend and feel good about. But we don't, and so we don't like to BS you guys on stuff like that. I'm sure there are a lot of people that will be willing to tell you whatever they can to make you buy their stuff or sign up for their agency, we won't do that.
Gotcha. I do want to let everyone know that in 2 weeks' time, on December 14th, we are going to have first-time DealerOn webinar presenter. And by the way, he's a recluse. That I even got him to agree to do this webinar is an astounding feat. Philip Rather, who is the top guy at Facebook in the automotive vertical. It's his decisions that decide, you know, the path that they take on Facebook and shape the way dealers can sell more cars through that social media platform. He is going to be here on the show on December 14th. His name is Philip Rather again, and like I said, top guy at Facebook. So if you got questions about Facebook and especially about the new marketplace, I don't know, maybe show up to that one and ask him a question, and let's see if he can help you out, all right? So Daniel, thank you so much for that. All right, next question is from Tony. Different Tony, lots of Tonys today. Tony wants to know, Greg, is the Twitter algo operating similar to Facebook in that it will stop showing your ads if you are not getting engagement?
Not to the effect that Facebook's algorithm works. Their algorithm is a little bit more complicated and frustrating. But again, it still comes down to engagement and whether it matters for the algorithm or not. Even if the algorithm didn't decide to boost or reduce visibility based on engagement, why would you want to share stuff that's not engaging anyway? If people are following you on social media, the same thing holds true. They're following you because they're already exposed to you and they like you. And if you're just saying, hey, buy my crap, 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 that's not useful to anybody. So share engaging stuff because that's the right way. It's called social media because you're supposed to be social.
Okay, Tony, thank you so much for your question. All right, next one comes in from Liliana. Love that name. First of all, she wanted to thank Shaun for his answer earlier, and she says her next question is, what do you think the best way to convert people searching for year, make, model terms in relation to paid search?
The best way to convert year, make, model searches. So if you're not putting anything else in other than year, make, model, you're probably going to compete against your OEM because they're probably buying an ad there, as well as probably a lot of other people. So if you do get to click, it's probably going to be all about what your ad copy says and how you got it and where you land them. So year, make, model searches, that's crowded. Not that there's anything wrong with it. You definitely want to be showing up in those searches, but you really can't afford to deep link anybody too deep, and your landing environment has to be on point. And then you got to run a lot of tests with it. So I would be looking at, from a mobile perspective, I'd be looking at AdWords at the mobile landing page effectiveness. There's a tool within AdWords now. We did a Wednesday workshop video on it a month or two ago, maybe. So I'd be looking at that for testing those make model searches and see what happens from there. It's all going to be driven by what kind of results you're getting, and you're going to be, your competition is going to be, probably you're going to beat them by either your ad copy or a combination of that in your landing environment.
Thank you so much. Liliana, great question. She's got a couple more coming up in a little bit. Okay, let's see. Tony, different Tony, has another question. Says, Greg, I'm working with a review management platform, and it would be helpful if you could provide a reference to the Facebook review site rank of #2. I have no idea what that means.
No idea what that means either.
Okay, good. I wasn't the only one. Okay, Tony, if you could write in and just be more specific, we'll see if we can get that answer for you. Let's move on to the next question, which comes in from Tyler. He says, what are some favorite ways of yours to generate leads on your own and not rely on any BDC or website visits? We are a one-location family-owned dealership, so traffic varies quite a bit.
Paid search, paid search, paid search, and paid search.
Wow, that's 4 answers.
No, if your paid search campaigns are leveraging call extensions, message extensions on mobile, people do not have to go to your website. And so if you want to do that, then shut off all of the ads that you don't have call extensions on, that you don't have message extensions on. I mean, you have to really know that AdWords offers a bunch of different methods for people to actually communicate with you without having to visit your website or submit a lead. A location extension, they touch that, it brings up, you know, on their Maps app on their phone, it automatically starts directions to your dealership. Message extension allows them to start texting with you right from their mobile phone. Call extension, they touch that, they're calling your dealership. They don't have to go to your website. They don't have to go to a landing page. That's it. I don't know if that helps, but that's where I would be doing all of my testing and spending my money to figure out how I dial that in and calibrate that for at least the question you're asking.
If your traffic is fluctuating that much, I would examine why that is happening, because just because you're a single point family owned store doesn't mean you should have vastly fluctuating traffic. So it should be fairly steady. I mean, clearly if you're in the Northeast and there's a blizzard, you're not going to get traffic for a couple of days. But if that's, you know, not the case, just, you know, it scares me a little that he says their traffic fluctuates wildly because they're a single point family owned store. That shouldn't be happening. So I would definitely try to dig into that a little bit.
Are they independent? Is this an independent dealer or a franchise dealer?
Tyler? Yes, independent.
That's the reason why the traffic's going to fluctuate, and that's also another good reason to make sure that used vehicles, independent dealers for paid search, you need to strongly vet your vendors because there's a whole bunch of them that just throw you into automated crap, and it won't help you, especially you as an independent, family-owned, small. You got to be really smart with what you're doing with your used inventory. You need to talk to people. You need to be in touch with people like Jason Rice from Lot Pop, right? You need to do some of the things that you can do that help. He's one of the best guys for used car stuff you can imagine. He's just fantastic. But you also, DealerOn takes a lot of time to properly set up and understand our independent dealers from a paid search strategy perspective, because it's just really different. We have to know why you stock the vehicles you stock, what's the average turn on the things that you're keeping in inventory. So not knowing exactly how many cars you keep as a Tyler,
Yes.
what your average inventory is, but there's a lot of variables for you that go into the real answer for this question. So again, something if you want to follow up with us on, we'd be more than happy to do it.
But check on your SEO too, because kind of the example I used earlier of a franchise site fighting against you know, a Jiffy Lube, and the Jiffy Lube is 100% relevant for service terms and the dealership website's not. Same thing when we're talking about used cars, and searches for used cars are one of the biggest traffic draws to your website, and a franchise site is going to have a small percentage of the site optimized for used cars and used car searches, whereas an independent website, 100% of the site should be optimized for used cars, and you should be able to be destroying everybody in your market. And we know that that's, in any town, one of the most significant search phrases for automotive. So you shouldn't have vastly fluctuating stuff unless you're not really showing up well for used cars, and then you could potentially just be showing up for the year, make, model searches for the specific things people are looking for. And if you've got it in inventory, you're showing up. So if you have a month that's really great, followed by a month that really sucks, look at how your inventory changed and check your Google Analytics and see your landing pages, because it could be that, you know, maybe you had a couple of BMWs in stock in October and that brought you a bunch of traffic, and once you sold them, you didn't really replace them with BMWs and you replaced them with Mercedes or something else, and that's not what people in the area were looking for, so your traffic dropped off. So there's, like you said, tons of things that could go into that traffic fluctuation, but that's a pretty big thing I would dig into and figure out what's going on.
All right, fair enough. By the way, Tyler gave you thumbs up, great information, awesome information, he says, and thank you. A number of people, including Christopher and Patrick, they wanted to know who was that name that you just mentioned for used cars. I can tell you he's been on our show before. He is brilliant. His name is Jason, Jasen Rice, like chicken fried rice. All right, Jason Rice, and he's with Lot Pop. You can also go to dealeron.com/webinar and go to our previously our previously recorded webinars, our archived webinars, and do a search for Jason Rice. Every one of his webinars is mind-blowingly good. I mean, just his views on how you should actually price your used cars, just life-changing. All right, so definitely look him up. He's a phenomenal resource, especially if you're a used car or independent dealer. All right, next question. By the way, no, let's go back one. Tony wrote back in. He said, oh, I'm sorry, you had mentioned that Facebook is the second ranking review platform, and that's what he was talking about. So Greg, he's working with a review management platform, and it would be helpful if you could provide a reference to the Facebook review site rank of number 2.
Still not sure what he means there. We know that the most important review sites are number 1, Google, number 2, Facebook, number 3, industry review sites, so whatever is relevant to that specific vertical, and number 4, Yelp. So those are the 4 places you should be spreading your reviews among. Maybe that answers this question. I'm still not quite sure I understand what he wants.
I guess we'll find out in a minute. All right, Tony, hopefully we can help. We already helped you out, and if you need more help, send us another question. All right, we are over time, but we still have some great questions. So, gentlemen, if you'll stick around, we'll keep going.
How much longer? Because I do need to eat lunch before I've called all afternoon.
All right, well, 20 minutes? I definitely got 20 minutes worth of questions left. You just gonna have to...
Yeah, I know, but like that doesn't give me enough time to go get food and get back here by my call at 1. So.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We'll just keep going, and you tell me when you've had enough. We still have to give away a prize too. So,
right.
Okay. Next question comes in from Arthur. He says, "What would you recommend to use for a call to action on VDPs for a single price dealership? Get best price or get e-price? It doesn't make sense since we make a big deal about transparent pricing."
At DealerOn, you may already know this, Arthur, but our standard is get sale price after lots of testing. So we use get sale price as the default. We allow our dealers to put anything really they want on those buttons, but get sale price has been has outperformed from a conversion or getting the click better than any other verbiage we've put on a button. Doesn't matter the color, get sale price has been the differentiator. So that's what we use. So,
but it should be pretty easy for you to run some A/B tests and try some stuff for yourself and see what works best for you.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. Great question, Arthur. Thank you. Okay, next one comes in from Jeff. Jeff says, how do we tell if we are optimized for voice searches? And do the strategies for these differ from typed searches?
Yes, and don't worry about it.
Yes, and don't worry about it, Jeff.
Nobody's gonna go, hey, Google Home, I need to buy an F-150, where do I go? Like, it's just, people aren't gonna search that way. And I talk about this at conferences. For those of you that don't know, I speak all over the world at conferences. I'm probably gonna end up doing 29 conferences this year. I do a lot of stuff international. A lot of times I'm talking at marketing conferences, not automotive conferences, and voice search is one of the biggest things. In fact, I'm keynoting SMX Munich in March, which is the same week as NADA, so if you see me there, I'm going to be a wreck because I'll be jet lagged as hell. But I'm the opening keynote for that, and my entire session is about how to prepare for voice search and the rise of mobile in 2018. And honestly, for car dealers, it doesn't matter. As I said 20 minutes ago, people are buying a car every 6 or 7 years, and they do months of research before they buy that car. You can't do research on voice search for something like this. Voice search is, hey, order me a pizza, or hey, Amazon, order me a new pair of shoes. It's not, hey, Amazon, go buy me a car. So for now it may change in the future, but for right now, there's absolutely nothing for you to worry about for voice search.
Okay. Jeff just wrote, and he says, I'll just scratch that one off the list right now. Thanks.
Well, let me add a little bit to that, because at Digital Dealer, I talked about voice search, and there's a wrinkle. So you have all these voice assistants that use a search platform, right? Siri, you've got Cortana, you've got Alexa, right, that are doing all these things for us from a voice search perspective. Most voice searches are done when people are driving, by far more than any other activity that we're doing. But here's the thing that I told dealers in this session. Start to do your own searches. You've seen Greg and I do I'm looking for a Toyota dealer near me, right? Do the types of searches that you think consumers are going to start to, so that you can be a little bit ahead of the curve, and you can bring those types of questions to somebody like Greg. Because right now, Greg's right. Most of the things that are being searched with voice are the same exact phrases that people would type in. But that will probably change over time. And so you need to be thinking about, well, what will people say to their phone, or what would I say to my phone that has something relevant to doing business with me, like perhaps service, or I'm looking for the highest rated Ford dealer in Dallas, that kind of thing. Because guess what will happen? If you do that through Siri, it will actually show you in order the ratings of those Ford dealers based on Yelp, right? Not on Google searches. So there are some things like that to be aware of, and do your own testing. Act like a consumer and do voice searches and find out if you start to bring some. That's what we're doing right now, as well as keeping our finger on the pulse. But
and voice search is inherently a mobile activity, and when you're doing mobile searches, the number 2 most important factor is having a physical address in the city of search. So if you're in a suburb of Dallas and you want to show up for somebody looking for a Dallas Toyota dealer, it's not going to happen. And the other number 1 most important factor for ranking in those mobile searches and location searches is the proximity of the search result to the person doing the search. You can't optimize for either one of those. So if somebody's looking for a Ford dealership and they're asking a voice assistant, they're going to get the one that's closest to them. You can't optimize for that, so there's really nothing to worry about.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Let's keep going. Great question, Jeff. Thank you. Okay. Next one comes in from Liliana. She says, what do you have to do to get Google Analytics 360 Suite? I know DealerOn is on Google Analytics 360 and was wondering how to get on that too.
Pay for it.
There you go. Liliana, thank you so much. She has a follow-up question too. She says also, how do you match conversions from pay-per-click to sales in your DMS? And can you combine this data inside Google Analytics like you can do for e-commerce?
Yeah, we can. If you're on a DealerOn website, then we can do what we call track to sale through either a DMS and CRM integration with you, or through post-sale data that comes out of your DMS. So yes, we can do that, but only if you have a DealerOn website, and we're also doing paid search for you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Liliana. Great question. Okay, next one. Patrick writes in, what is a better option? 1, making a photo library of car inventory that we reuse the same photos for different vehicles that have the same color and trim, etc. Or 2, should we photograph every car individually no matter what? And should there be any specific info on that photo for, like, instance, web address or phone numbers or logo?
Of course, this has got to be a new car question, because used cars, obviously, you want pictures of all of those. On new cars, if they're the same trim and color, I don't think you need to take pictures of every single one of those cars. Not necessary. But making sure that you have representation of not just that model, but the trim level of that model is probably important. If you have something that's as significant as a package that makes the wheels and something really significant from an aesthetics of that car look different, you want to have pictures of that version of the car as well. Same thing with trucks. So you can't just take, a base F-150 crew cab and like, that's good, we got all the blue ones or all the black ones, because there's so many variations of that. Same thing with a Mustang or just about any other vehicle. It's a little bit more simple in some for some manufacturers, because there aren't tons of variations of Maximas or Altimas like there are Silverados and F-150s and Mustangs. So no, not necessary to take pictures of every single car, but make sure that you have a representation of the things, especially the ones that are going to be the ones you want on your marquee that people are attracted to and interested in. You definitely want those up.
As far as logos and website information and stuff, the vast majority of those photo views are going to happen on your own website. It's a little bit obnoxious if all your pictures have watermarks of all that crap on it. So typically, best bet is to figure out which of your photos are getting fed to AutoTrader and Cars and all the third-party sites, and make sure that the first photo that's displayed, the main hero photo, does have that logo and website address. But then beyond that, they're just regular pictures that go out everywhere.
Patrick, thank you for the great question. Oh, he says, cool, thanks. All right, gentlemen, I think it's time to give away that wonderful prize that we have that is sponsored by AutoHook. So if you wouldn't mind, let's go to that slide. Yay! Yeah, it's that time. If you missed it at the beginning of the webinar, I announced that our good friends over at AutoHook are sponsoring this week's webinar giveaway. AutoHook is a showroom traffic driver, and they have built the ultimate attribution engine, which tracks that customer through the lead, showroom visit, and purchase, and then delivers a cost per sale that's best in the industry. One of you lucky webinar attendees are going to win a $250 e-gift card from AutoHook. Perfect for the holiday season, yes. So get ready, get to your keyboards. First person to write in the correct response to our giveaway question will be winning this awesome prize today. Good luck, everyone. By the way, you can.
Can I do it too?
I know, right? I want to win. No, you can't do it because you're part of the question, Greg. Okay. Here is the question. This was submitted to us by our very own hair, Shaun Raines. Good luck, everyone. No, it's not. The answer is no. Those aren't the answers. What modern Christmas classic movie is being recreated live for TV this year, and the beard and the hair think it is shameful? Oh, we have a winner. We have a winner. Wait. Oh, my gosh. Wait. Ah, it keeps moving. Stop moving. Okay, wait. It is not the Grinch. It is not the Elf. Who is this person? The Christmas Story is the correct answer, and that is Dan Petermeyer. Dan Petermeyer, congratulations. You are today's winner, and you have won a heck of a prize today, my friend. So, Dan, if you wouldn't mind, please send me in right now the name of your dealerships. We can give you a proper congratulations. We congratulate you. Weston Nissan in Davie, Florida. Well, you have just won yourself $250 e-gift card from our friends at AutoHook. Now, for everyone else playing along, thank you so much for coming here today and playing along for our DealerOn webinar prize. I know we only had one cool prize today, and you didn't win it because your name's not Dan Petermeyer. You know what? My name's not Dan Petermeyer either. But you know what? Come on back to another DealerOn webinar, and that could be the day that you win a cool prize on a DealerOn webinar. For right now, congratulations go out to Dan Petermeyer on his big win. And of course, we got to thank our good friends over at AutoHook for their incredible generosity. And for more information about AutoHook, remember to visit driveautohook.com. All right, gentlemen, I do have a couple of last-minute questions, and then we'll close out this show, all right? So, for instance, David Sharp wants to know, what is the name of the book that Shaun recommends that deals with testing things? He told me about it before, and I didn't get it, but now I don't remember the name. Shawnee, what is it?
It's called You Should Test That.
How could you forget that, Sharpie?
It's You Should Test That, and it's written by Chris Goward, which is spelled Goward. And it's a great. You'll love it. Let me know, David, how you like that book. I had somebody last week, actually, somebody that saw me at some Kia event sent a lead through DealerOn and said, "Hey, I met this guy. He's got crazy hair and he's not afraid to say the F word in presentations. Like, he told me about these books. I got them. I read them, and they knew that the guy was talking about me. So hopefully you like that book."
That's awesome. Okay, great. Okay, thank you so much for that question. Okay, here's another quick one to answer. People are asking about where they can find our archived webinars, especially the ones with Jason Rice. Email me directly at eliana@dealeron.com, and I can help you out with that, or go to dealeron.com/webinar. And then at the very bottom link that you can get to is going to say, did you miss a webinar? Do you want to see our recorded webinars? Click on that, and it's all of our recorded webinars in order in which we did them. Most recent is at the top, and you can do a search for Jason Rice, and they will come up. But thank you so much for asking about that. We had an interesting question from Chad. He says, is Twitter of any value besides having an account for SEO purposes? And I got news for you. We're doing our very first ever Twitter webinar with somebody from Twitter. I'm very excited. It's going to be January 25th. So you're definitely going to want to check that out. And actually, Chad, his name is Chad as well. So make sure you sign up for that. And you can ask all the kinds of Twitter questions you want, my friend. But just so we know, Greg, do you have an...
100% you should be on Twitter, because Twitter users demographically tend to be more educated, more affluent, and more likely to buy expensive things. So you should be active on Twitter. The people that are active on Twitter tend to be more active and more engaged than the people that are on Facebook. So I would 100% be on Twitter every day of the week.
There you go, Chad. All right, let's do one last question. We'll close out the show. And gentlemen, I do have a handful of questions we did not get to, so I will email those over to you and see if you might be able to help those kind folks. Okay, last question comes in from David. He says, lay it out for me. How much do reviews actually affect SEO?
A lot. They're like 10% of the signal. So they're hugely important. And after the update that happened about a year ago in September called the Possum update, they're now also paying attention not just to your score and the number of reviews and the sentiment of the reviews, but the actual keywords in the reviews of what people are writing. So Google pays a whole lot of attention to your reviews, so it's definitely an important part of your strategy.
Thank you very much. And with that, the beard and the hair, I love you guys. And I can't believe I won't be able to see you until next year. By the way, gentlemen, are you both going to be at the upcoming NADA convention?
Yes, we will. I'm speaking on Thursday and Saturday, I believe.
Ooh.
I was not allowed to apply to speak at NADA this year, so. But
I didn't believe that for a second.
You know where I'm going to see you, though? Women in automotive.
Don't lie. You're not coming to women. Are you coming to women in automotive?
I'm speaking on the 11th.
No way. I didn't even know you were coming. I'm so excited. Damn it.
Hype it.
Yeah. I'm so excited. Thank you so
much,
Shaun.
I'm going to do something that I've never, ever done at any conference, any webinar, never, ever before done.
What?
Provide useful information.
I hate this guy.
Damn, Greg. Damn.
I'm not even wearing pants right now. How can I take him seriously?
I am 2 time zones away and that hurt. Are you going to tell us, or are you going to make me wait until I get to women in automotive?
You're going to wait. He won't spoil the surprise.
Damn it. Well, I'm very excited because, as everyone knows, hopefully by now, I am actually the MC for the Women in Automotive Conference. It's going to be in Palm Springs. If you can go, you should be there. It's an amazing conference, and it is in Palm Springs, December 10th and 11th, and I am so excited. I'm going to see you there, Shaun. Oh, this is great news for me.
And if you are an Acura dealer or you have any Acura dealerships in Southern California, come and see me on the 14th in Huntington Beach. And if you are a Toyota dealer in the St. Louis region, come and see me on the 13th, because I'm like all over the place until we get to Christmas. So, yeah.
That's right. That long vacation, we're putting you to work now, pal. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. Phenomenal presentation. Tell all your friends about it. I want to remind the audience we are going to send you that link to the recording. As soon as it's available, you're going to get it. So please share it with your friends and colleagues. Today's webinar is also going to be posted online within 24 hours. Just go to DealerOn.com/webinars. And from there, you can view our upcoming webinar schedule or access any of our past webinars, too. And, hey, this webinar is going to conclude in just a moment. And when it does, you're going to get a short survey. It is literally 3 short questions. So please fill it out. We're always looking for quality feedback from our audience. And we want to know what you thought of today's presentation. So tell us what you think. And invitations will be going out tomorrow for our next amazing DealerOn webinar, How to Engage Customers and Sell More Cars. Yep, the title says it all. We're going to dedicate a full hour to show you in detail how rockstar car salesman Mike, the Louisville Chevy dude Davenport, does just that. He should know, over the past 7 years, he's sold more than 2,000 units just with the power of engagement. Would you like to know how to engage customers and sell more cars? Heck yeah, you do. And if you don't, there's probably something wrong with you. Attendees of this jam-packed 1-hour webinar will learn the art of engagement to increase automobile sales immediately, why engagement is so important to car sales today, how to get customers and prospects to engage with you, how to properly sell cars through social media, the best times to get engagement, and how to reach more people in less time. You can place ads all across the internet and on billboards and pizza boxes all over town, but If you want to sell a car and or increase your bottom line, then you must first learn to excel at engagement. So don't miss this chance to hear from one of the auto industry's best and brightest and learn how to engage customers and sell more cars. If you think you can handle this hour of awesomeness, then you better register now. And don't forget, DealerOn's weekly webinars are held Thursdays at 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain, and 9 a.m. Pacific. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions regarding our webinars and our topics, hey, I'd love to hear from you. I'm everywhere on social media, every place on automotive, every place. You can't miss me. Or you know what, just email me directly at eliana@dealeron.com. Thank you all so very much for your time today, and we certainly do hope to see you on another webinar in DealerOn's continuing education series. Take care, everyone. Thank you, Beard and Hair.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, everybody.
See you next time.
You got it.